Hello, my name is Sebastian Linares. I'm studying business administration in the University of Pontificia Universidad Javeriana. And I'm going to tell you some things about the education system, how or why it's important to our society. And I'm going to compare all these education system, Colombia versus Finland, Japan, and we are going to look what education system is very important. One of them is why do you think that education system is important? Is because the knowledge, is because the skills, is because we want to be someone in our society, in our big world? Yes, you can count all of this. For example, it's important because it helps people develop skills and knowledge. As we know, for example, I'm very good at mathematics, but there are also people that are very excellent in literature, and they around in the past of the time they are develop all of these skills, and that makes the people being the people. The other one is, for example, why the education system is so important is because it's one of the key of a driver of economic growth. If you want to know how a country works, especially in a economic system like financial system, it helps the people to know what's going on around the world, around the country, and it's very important. As we know, the education system, especially just education, is one of the promotes of our society. Is how we communicate also the problems that we had, and we have to know what happened in our past to know our future. Is one of the quotes I always bring to this moment when I'm talking about the education system. And there are also a lot of things that I want to compare. For example, in every country has different education system. One is working 100% like Finland, that I'm going to tell you mm, you know for in uh, in the next 2 minutes, so it will help you to understand why it's important or why it's the best in the world. And I'm going to compare to Colombian education or even to Japan education. For example, let's talk about some of Colombian education. One of them is, for example, here in Colombia we have different levels, uh, beginning with preschooler education, primary school education system, secondary, middle education, and higher education. They are composed of as well private or public schools. The private is given to people that we have to pay for get this all of knowledge and skills, but the public is where the government gives all this stuff for the society, and we pay it with taxes. Uh, this education system is administered for the Ministry of National Education, and of course it's regulated by the political constitution of Colombia. Also, I want to know that a higher education is composed by university, technical, and technological institutions, also artistic and cultural. Uh, but there are different kinds, like in Japan, where there are emphasized in discipline and rigor. You have to do what the teacher says that you have to do, and the teacher will their student to know what the moral and what the civic education works in their society, and that's why makes the people Japan so in, interesting to understand them, to know hey they're good, and that's why the reason, and this is why we know the root, yeah, the root of the I'm sorry, the square of the the root of the society is the education system. And finally, I'm going to give you like the final education, the best education in the world that I could say, and a lot of newspapers say it the same. Like Finland education is one of the most important because it's built on the principle of equity and aims to provide as well high quality education to all the students regardless of their background. So they say, hey, you did very well in this time. Also, the teacher is one of the most best paid in their country, so they are very focused on what they want to their society, and that makes this a big society in especially in education system. Also, in Finland is they are less emphasized on in standardized testing and more on formative assessments. It's not like in Japan, if you get a score of 0, you're a loser. In Finland, it says, hey, if you got a 0 in that kind of skills, maybe you're not going in that way. Maybe you are more artistic or more linguist person or more mathematic person. So that's why Finland education is one of the most interesting system education around the world. So thank you so much for watching, and let's subscribe.